In the news tonight, court orders vendors to move from around the Amico house.
So at least they could come with some better solution, man. Everybody in here just buy from banks. All these things is banks product.
And April 19th set for the ruling in the GTU government case.
How can you not do work and expect to get paid?
We articulate a position where we believe that the Constitution, Articles 147, 2 and 3, constitutionalize the right and freedom to strike.
Vendors operating around the iconic Demico house opposite Stabrook Market were ordered to remove by the court. The order was handed down by High Court Judge Navindra Singh this morning. Vendors are upset with the decision.
I don't want to say I'm a vendor for years, and then not the first time I move and I come back there. And I don't want to say if they could solve me with a time or solve me with a place, because you can't come and take somebody off a place without no encouragement and say that you got to move immediately. Where we going to go?
I'm a youngster on this road here, so, and I hustling. I hustling for fair and kind dollar. Understand? Which in they wrong for what I'm trying to do, right? But this is most people income up there and most young people too.
I paying a box. I got my daughter for look after. I got rent for pay. And my rent is $8,000 a week. Understand me? So at least they could come with some better solution, man. Everybody in here just buy from banks. All these things is banks product.
It will affect me very bad because this is my daily bread. This is where I live in. I only go in and sleep somewhere, just come back here and live a day, a whole day till night and selling banks product. So I don't understand.
Yeah, because we selling pony car here, sir. I don't have a man. I just got to come out here, sir, and work. I just got to sell a daily meal for my children. I don't have a man to take care of me. I just got to take care of myself.
You can't take in people money and know this thing is illegal or it's obstructing. And we end up being trespassing, we ain't doing nothing but banks building. Banks could never carry the vendors to court. Because we are not dealing with banks building, we're dealing with what all that we own.
The matter was first raised at the beverage giant Banks DIH 68th annual general meeting. Then the chairman Clifford Reese said over the years the company has sought the intervention of the Georgetown Mayor City Council and the police to have vendors removed to no avail.
Drink and taste, you will never decline. Extra lemon and lime, it's the two combined. It's one of a kind. Extra lemon and lime, extra lemon and lime. Taste the citrus in every sip.
What are you doing? Igloo ice cream. You know it's good.
A decision is expected on April 19th in the case filed by the Guyana Teachers Union against the government of Guyana over the legality of the 23 days teacher strike. The case also dealt with whether teachers ought to be paid for the days they were out of the classroom. The court will also rule on the suspension of the collection of the union dues by the government and remitting the same to the Guyana Teachers Union. Attorney General Andy Nandalal made the closing submission this morning before Justice Sandel Kusun, and he told reporters on the corridors of the court that he believed that the proceedings filed by the teachers' union through their lawyers were defective. He posited wages are defined in the Labor Act as monies paid for work done or to be done. However, Senior Counsel Roysdale Ford, the teachers' union lawyer, had a different view.
That is the definition of wages and salaries, for work done or to be done. So how can you not do work and expect to get paid? I also examined other parts of the Constitution which they relied upon to show that no international treaty that we have signed at the ILO or anywhere else has conferred a right on a worker to get paid for work not done during strike period. So that concept, I believe, I rejected completely. I dealt with the principles, although they were not pleaded, because they were raised in the arguments by the other side. I believe that I demonstrated with great clarity, examining the Constitution, the 1966 Constitution, the 1980 Constitution, the 2001 Constitution, and all the changes that have taken place in relation to trade unions and in relation to rights to strike and freedom to strike, that there is no right to strike in Guyana, there is a freedom to strike. That's an important thing. The Constitution has a right to demonstrate, a right to assemble, but a freedom to strike. So the draftsman using language differently, different language to portray a different concept. Then you have the rights of the worker, of the employer. The Constitution also protects the employer's right to property. So how can you advocate that you have a right to pay when you have not worked? Because if you are to be paid for service not rendered, then you are compelling the employer to give you his property for which he has received no compensation and no reward. So that's the first, constitutionally, the concept can't fly.
We articulate a position where we believe that the Constitution, Articles 147, 2 and 3, constitutionalize the right and freedom to strike. We also pointed out to the court that by virtue of Article 154A of the Constitution and Schedule 4 of the Constitution, the international convention, particularly the ones on civil and political and economic rights, specifically provide for a right to strike. So even if we accept the submissions of the Attorney General and the state that Article 147 does not include the right to strike and is just a freedom to strike, there's definitely statutory basis for saying that through the Constitution, which might not be a fundamental right, but because of its source coming from the Constitution, it is a constitutional right to have a right to strike. I believe that the implications of that were not contemplated by the Attorney General when he argued that simply there's just a freedom to strike. That is why he stood up towards the conclusion and pointed out to the court that there is a provision which provides for a right to strike. So whether we consider it a freedom to strike, a right to strike, I also pointed out that the Canadian authorities indicate that the constitutional fundamental right must be construed in accordance with the International Convention.
The Guyana Teachers Union was represented by Senior Counsel Roysdale Ford and Darren Wade. Key witnesses in the matter were also cross-examined by both sides.
Today, the essence of my argument is established first that the principle of no work, no pay was inapplicable to Guyana. Secondly, to establish that the role and functioning of the Chief Labour Officer and the Minister of Labour aggravated the circumstances which led to the strike. We were able to present arguments in relation to those principal reasons. We were also able to deal with the question of the deduction of dues, which we articulated that was unconstitutional, and we believe that the court would have had sufficient information, sufficient arguments, that next Friday the court is likely to rule in our favor.
The arguments in relation to the right to strike, I believe there are several legal authorities, as I did indicate it to the court, that are very instructive. There's a case of Quincy McEwen that you would have heard coming up very often. There's the case of Thomas, that is the young man who genitals was burned by the police, whereby Justice George said that judges has a duty to incorporate international principles, which was later adopted in the Quincy McEwen case. So that laid the foundation and the basis in relation to the right to strike. The judge asked me, I believe it was at the opening of my argument, was stressing what is the basis, and at the end, that's this way we ended up in relation to Quincy McEwen, Thomas cases, our constitution, and so forth in relation to that.
It took the court mediation process to end the prolonged strike action after the government refused to meet with the union.
Washi. Hi people. Washing made so easy since I found Washi. Washing me use wash me clothes and I can say Washi soap powder wash clothes so nice. Washi soap powder leave your clothes color bright. Washi soap powder leave me clothes smelling nice, of course. So give thanks to Washi soap powder for doing my laundry right. Keep my clothes color bright. Have my clothes smelling nice for sure. I could not ask for more. Comes in lemon and original. It is a washing machine in a pack. Washi soap powder wash clothes so nice. Washi soap powder leave your clothes color bright. Washi soap powder have my clothes smelling nice, of course.
Distributors located in the Stabrook Market.
With 70% ethyl alcohol, Mighty Foam Hand Sanitizer eliminates 99.99% of all germs and even moisturizes in the process, leaving your skin clean and hydrated. Mighty Foam Hand Sanitizer. How do you stay clean?
Activist Odessa Primus is calling on the Ministry of Education to put systems in place to curb bullying in the public school system. She commented on the picket line on Tuesday at Tratsby Primary School on the east coast of Demerara. Scores of persons came out to lend support to the family of 11-year-old Mark Harry-Paul, who was killed under tragic circumstances back in November last year. Mark died hours after a 14-year-old boy allegedly slammed his head into a metal gate.
And so I am here because I'm a parent, but also because I'm a public figure, and very many times because people may have smaller voices in terms of, the audience that they may be able to reach. They're not heard. And I would like to ensure that they are heard. So we don't have to, as parents, be called by the school or the hospital or the police to say that our child is injured, that our child is dead because of an unfortunate incident that occurred in the schools. This should not be. I'm disappointed, to say the very least, that even with all these complaints, not this isolated incident only, but with all the complaints that we've been hearing, with all the videos that we've seen surfacing on social media, that there isn't a vigorous anti-bullying campaign launched by the ministry or by the police force or by whomever is the relevant authority to ensure that we bring an end to this sort of behavior, because we can't keep going to parents and say, I'm sorry, don't bring back people's children. I'm sorry, don't protect people's children. The actions, our actions and systems that we implement is what will ensure that our children are safe. And we could feel comfortable at home or at work as parents, knowing that our children are safe because we have a system, one, and two, the system works.
The post-mortem report revealed that Mark died from a fractured skull and blunt trauma to the head. A disappointed Roy Harry-Paul says the file was returned from the Director of Public Prosecutions and no charges were recommended. Now he is calling for a review of the file by the authorities. He said the police have since reached out to him.
Well, obviously it's just now they said the commander want to have a word with me, so I don't know, all the time you don't want to have a word with me. Now as a certain, so you want to have a word with me because all of the police know where I'm living. Because when they come for text statement, when the incident happened, they find the way where I'm living. So how you cannot find your way now that where I'm living? Many people reach out to me and and then tell me that is the good thing we do, go ahead with the protest and see what result you go get done. And if the matter will review or whatever and back to DPP. They reach out and when people say it's really sad, then think we already get justice or some compensation or something award related of my son death, right?
He said the plan is to continue his quest for justice for his son and to ensure that there will be no reoccurrence. The family will continue to protest until justice is served in the matter. For these and other stories, do visit us at our website www.rdproductiongy.com.